And so, beautiful friends, we are gathering here once again in great love. And this love is the love that we are. And it is truly how the divine enters this world. We are here on many missions, but the most important mission that I would love for all of us to remember every day, and I'm not making this up, it was actually assigned to us, is to be the light of the Creator in this world. And so we have many different missions, many different, little tasks or big tasks that we came here to do. We also came here to clean up the mess, which is one of the big missions. And I know that all of us are doing it. We are doing it when we work with the living fire of God. We are transmuting so much life force. And all of that we are cleaning up. Yogananda said we came here to clean up the mess. So we are the cleaning crew. But also we have other missions. And the most important mission that we have is carrying the light of the divine into this world. And so here we have a beautiful picture of the Great Mother Lakshmi, as she appeared to Ananda, who painted her in a temple in India, and she stood before her every single day until this painting was complete. So you can actually find this beautiful painting by Ananda, and it's on fineartamerica.com. And I highly recommend having this one because, Divine Mother doesn't appear to everyone all the time, but when she does and she wants to be painted like this, then there is some power in this. And so just like this light is shining from her hand, this light is shining from you into this world. Now, of course, if you have these beautiful beings like you coming into this world to shine the light of God into this world, to shine the light of divine into this world, then what happens? The world becomes lighter. And what a beautiful mission that we have. Sometimes we don't know exactly what our mission is. Sometimes people don't know what the purpose is, right? But every day, if you ever wonder, it is actually to be here now. So being is so much more important actually than often doing. And it's another wonderful thing that we can say, it doesn't need to be done, but we need to be. And so to be the love, to be the change, to be the light. All of this, it's very empowering every day to remember why we are here. So this ascension process, I have been personally sharing about the ascension process like this since 2020, when actually it was Divine Mother's assignment. She appeared in many different forms one night, and she eventually said, I want you to start sharing what I have taught, and also to bring people together so that we can go through this ascension process, and then to assist whenever assistance is needed, which means participation in the ascension process. And so there's a lot of content. I looked on YouTube today. I'm sure that we recorded like hundreds of videos. I think it was like close to 400 videos since 2020. And it is all just constant sharing about this beautiful, really guidance that we have been receiving from our cosmic mother, from the Great Mother, mainly. But of course, as we go through the ascension process, things are changing. Of course, that's what ascension is all about. Finally, ascension is a process of expansion. If we do not expand, we are not ascending. And so, what happened in the past, of course, for millions of years, is that humanity was actually trapped within a cycle that was not ascending. It was not an ascending cycle, it was just repetition, it was recycling. And so, one way to think about it is that we were constantly coming back to the mess. We were supposed to clean up the mess, but instead of cleaning up the mess, we made more mess, which was the typical human condition. And it was not just our fault, there was also a design behind all of this. So the mess was big. But this is our opportunity. We know that we made a promise actually to what I would call our creator. And we made the promise to be here now on this earth to actually assist with something much bigger than personal ascension. In the past, we could only do personal ascension, but now we are doing planetary ascension. Now you hear that people say ascension through the body, and actually that's exactly what's happening. The picture of the body is such a huge picture. Again, I dare to say it's millions of years of what we experience as actually degrading of the body that now is being upgraded. Not only is it something that we participate in on a personal level, but it's happening to all of us. So the body itself is becoming once again God design instead of the fallen design. The fallen design of the body, it actually happened when we call it the fall from grace. But what happened is that the body fell from the original divine design in many different ways. And so we then developed things like the yogis, developed the yoga. We had all the different techniques, like Sadhguru calls it inner engineering, in Taoism, the inner alchemy, in, mystical traditions, the Ascension teachings, the Essenes, and all of these different teachings were actually brought to humanity to try to at least experience personal or small collective ascension, which would mean incredible purification of the physical vessel, not necessarily only through food, but of course, food, the proper diet was also needed. But it was all about liberating the channels within the physical body and some major changes to the nervous system. Very often, this would take lifetimes to achieve, actually, personal ascension. So we then have ascended masters. It is a mastery of actually physical energy, physical vessel, so that it can run the high voltage energy of the spirit. So again, in the past, if you wanted to experience your own ascension, which means liberating yourself from the recycling system and actually evolving, so it would take lifetimes, or in a lifetime, if you wanted to work on yourself, we first still had such a big burden of all the life force that we used without love, without consciousness, right? There was a kind of trap. It was called the wheel of karma for a reason. People thought maybe that's natural, but that was so unnatural. It was actually how immortal beings like you and me here in this world got actually trapped by the wheel of karma. And so all of this amazingness is happening right now through us. What would have taken an incredible effort is now actually happening through you in this very moment, and more than ever in this accelerated ascension process since the winter, and in Australia and New Zealand, of course, and Southern Hemisphere, summer solstice, which took place on the 21st of December 2023. And so we are now in this amazing, amazing physical ascension process. And that means the body holds a key. And it holds a key. And I tell you why. Because we are unlocking the dormant energy channels, the portals within us that are actually held not only in our physical body, but in all our earthly bodies, which includes our etheric, our mental, our emotional body, but also in our subtle bodies, in our nervous system. And so what took so much work before, if you are a yogi, within us are incredible energy channels. So now it's just happening through us. So there are two ways to participate in this transformation. One is consciously knowing that it's happening and knowing that these incredible changes are opening us up to actually the heavenly spirit, to the higher and higher and higher realms. So I always teach the process of out-of-body travel, and I will speak about that and also recommend a course for everyone to take. Out-of-body travel, in the past, people call it astral projection. There was so much misunderstanding. Some people thought, it's the soul leaving the body, etc. But for example, from my own experience, since 2020, the realms that have opened up for us to explore are actually much higher even than what we call the astral realm. And we are now able to even explore much subtler worlds of the solar worlds and the causal plane and actually our creator itself. So there is a lot to be said about this ascension process. But the body is definitely where transformation is taking place in a massive, it's huge what's happening within the body. The body no longer is the same like it was in 2023, let alone how it was in 2019. The biggest transformation for the physical body took place since 2019. So whatever techniques we had until then might not be fully applicable now to our new reality. We are in a new reality. And we are always, every day, stepping into another new reality. And all of this is happening through the energy of fire. This fire is the living fire of God. In our world, this fire of living God is represented by our solar energy, so sun. But of course, we don't have just a physical sun, we have many other suns within creation, and all of them are communicating every single day, because every single day is a new cosmic day, right? And they are sharing information with each other, they are sharing activation codes, and then these activation codes are being stepped down through our physical sun into our physical bodies. When our physical bodies are unlocked to be able to run once again these very, very high, intense electrical and also magnetic energies of our Divine Mother, Father God, then we also transform in terms of consciousness. And so you might be feeling changes, you might be experiencing physical changes, you might start thinking different thoughts because it's transforming the entire complex of who we are. Not only, of course, like we mentioned, the physical body itself, but also our mental body, emotional body, etheric body, and of course, our consciousness. And so, what I've been experiencing since December 21st is incredible emptiness, but at the same time, fullness. And as you know, there's also these divine dichotomies, but the emptiness of the typical, what we call the fallen human mind that was just thinking, 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 had an identity, was attached to the body, was attached to the mind. So that is dissolving more and more and more. And instead, we're becoming more full with the heavenly spirit. So you might even be experiencing more and more the feeling of just being filled with energy, not needing to eat so much food, being lighter and lighter, being emptier and emptier, and yet fuller and fuller and more fuller with actually spirit. So there is a lot taking place within us. Our nervous system is changing, our chakra system is changing, our spinal cord is changing, our brain centers are changing. All of it is changing. Our cells are changing, our geometries are changing. So, oh my goodness. So, how do we best go through this incredible process? Is remembering the 4 steps with Divine Mother. Relax, let go, trust, and then surrender. So letting go of the old self is actually the key. The old self will have to go. So you can say goodbye to the old self now. Let's just say goodbye to the old self, because the old self was disconnected from the true self, which is the divine self. The mind that we all got to know so well, which for some of us became such a burden, for many people in this world, it was a torturous mind that was just thinking, thinking, thinking. There's no silence, no room for the divine to even step in, to be heard. Even prayer became just talking to God, asking for things. Even that is ridiculous, right? When you really think about it, because we are to be an empty and silent vessel, attuned to these amazing subtle energies so that we can actually hear and see and be part of this amazing multidimensional reality, to be attuned. So when we start running these energies, these very, very high energies that are coming into us, we might feel incredible heat. We might even, some people are experiencing so-called psychosis. But psychosis, when you look into multidimensional reality, you could say, well, that's pretty crazy, but actually that is the nature of multidimensional reality. So there is a lot happening to the nervous system. The nervous system is starting to pick up on this multidimensionality, of course. We are feeling the heat. We are feeling maybe that we need to drink more water, eat less. Maybe we feel a lot of energy at night, so we are not sleeping so well. So all of this is just the result of what is happening here within us. Now, so in the past, let's say, for someone like Yogananda, who is the lineage of Babaji, who brought to us the wonderful teaching of Kriya Yoga. What is Kriya Yoga? Kriya Yoga is when you are actually affecting your psychology and your body through pranayama, through moving energy through your nervous system, through moving energy through your spinal column, opening up to higher and higher realities, and actually being able to have direct contact with God. So it was, when you ran these energies, right, it was so much work. You would have to absolutely dedicate yourself to be able to withstand this energy. And you needed a guru who would actually give you the graceful gift of clearing your spinal column. But now, again, it's just happening through us and happening to us. But again, we want to participate consciously in this process. So in the past, when the yogi would be running this incredible energy, this divine electricity, they would levitate. They would become completely more and more and more subtle. They could disappear from this realm. They could, teleport. They could reappear. All of this was the result of running this incredible divine electricity. But now, again, it's happening to all of us. So I think it's so, so, so exciting. So our chakra system, of course, has changed as well. This is the 12 aspects that are running through our chakra system. And ideally, we want to express all of them at once. So like you saw here, for example, the beautiful being expressing all the rainbow light at once. Of course, teleportation is absolutely possible, and you can have these states of consciousness when you speed yourself up. It is about being actually faster when it comes to the vibration, right? So the most amazing vibration, it's like even breaking through the speed of light, and then we start teleporting. But, not everybody's goal is to teleport, but practically what is happening? We are now redesigned. This design has a name in higher realms, and this design actually, when you hear the name of it in higher realms, it is Hercules. Hercules, we know from the myth of Hercules, had 12 labors. Now, the 12 labors are actually the 12 aspects of divinity. So, the original design for a human being was that we take divine consciousness, which is really, if you would say, a fractal of God, and then we allow this fractal of God to embody into a physical body that will have 12 chakra system that will express all 12 aspects of divinity at once. So we are returning to this amazing design to be Hercules. I mean, this is amazing. And so what is happening as well that you might also find interesting, that our body is truly now like a tuning fork. We can attune the body as we are unlocking all these systems within us to actually receive higher and higher and higher states of consciousness that anyway are just simply flowing through us, around us, but we are to be aligned. I think about it this way. When you take, for example, two pipes and you hold one pipe in your right hand, one pipe in your left hand, and you want a flow of energy to go through both of them, you actually do have to connect them. So you take both pipes, you connect them into one, and then you, for example, right, if you want water to flow through it, then you go to the source of water so that it flows through that. So the body is like that too. We take our physicality, attune and align to the flow, and then allow the flow to go through this pipe, through this beautiful flute. And one of the ways that this incredible consciousness enters us as well, but also the way that we give rise to the consciousness within us through the spine all the way to our crown, is through our fontanelle. And so I had an encounter with Babaji when he came to me physically, and in the physical world, in our bedroom actually, he would come and he started rubbing my fontanelle to allow me to experience higher states of consciousness. And so with your body, it's an amazing instrument that you can play. And to play it well is to know which button to press, which lock to unlock, and then how to do it. And so one of the wonderful things that we can do when we do our meditation before we meditate is actually to rub our fontanelle or to focus our attention in the fontanelle. This has a lot to do with the incredible divine design of this physical body, the original design, the divine design, in which all of us were to experience absolutely impeccable physical conditions that would never ever be, taking our attention away from actually our true purpose. And our true purpose is, of course, to experience creation and to add our creative juice to it so that we keep expanding creation. It's very exciting. And so all of this is happening to us. And so right now, the earth, as you might know or might not know, the earth is in a new place within the universe. And I always say it sounds like science fiction, but actually there are great beings behind all of this. Very supernatural beings who have been part of the Earth's evolution for millions of years, billions of years. And these beings also, I would say, lovingly assist the earth and humanity. And so they expose the earth by moving the earth into more light. And so it's so beautiful. There is more light running through all of us. And I always think Divine Mother always said, mimic nature. And so what happens when we mimic nature? When we can learn, I would say, everything about the divine, we can learn through studying nature deeply through our intuition. And so when we expose a world to more light, we get more flowering. And so we have more flowering here. And this flowering is the flowering of consciousness, but it's also the flowering of our physicality, which was meant to be actually a divine design, an expression of the divine through the, we call it again Hercules, where consciousness enters physicality. So it was never meant to be a prison. And so now the earth is receiving more and more and more and more light. We have to always increase light gradually. That was the purpose, for example, of Kriya Yoga and of all the mystical practices. We never want to burn down the system because too much electricity simply would burn down the system. Too much divine light would burn down the system. We gradually increase. And so this is the gradual increase, more and more and more and more light. That's why in 2020, we had to go through the purification of our genome. We had to go through the purification of our cellular waters. We had to go through the purification of the body system to be able to actually handle these intense and more intense energies of the solar light that exists within our system. And so we are becoming rainbow beings. We are finally, restoring the rainbow design of our being with the 12 chakra system. So the way that this information and these people call it solar light codes, so information is given to us every single day. We are actually blessed every single day at sunrise with new information for this new solar day. And so Divine Mother always invites us to be outside in nature, to stand on the ground without shoes, to be barefoot, and to watch sunrise. And I always say, just so that you know, there are places in the world where obviously, the clouds are in the way, and sometimes in the city you don't get to even see the sky, but that's okay. Just face east in the morning, knowing that you are absorbing these light codes, that you are receiving information. This information always comes, as far as I can tell, with sacred geometry. So you are receiving sacred geometry. When you start meditating, standing, looking at sunrise or sitting, doesn't matter how. But it's nice to have the feet on the ground so that the information flows in through the crown, through your fontanelle, goes into the physicality of your being, delivers information to your bloodstream, to your waters, to your chakra system, your organs. Everything's evolving right here, right now. And so through the feet, you receive the information from the earth as well. The earth, of course, is an incredibly intelligent being, and she has her own evolutionary desires. Humanity thought that they were here, the kings and the queens of this jungle, but actually the earth is the queen of this jungle. And so we need to put the earth first and nature first, because nature is an expression of the divine in manifestation. And so nature actually delivers information. We are just an expression of the earth here in this world, meaning in the body. But we are, of course, our consciousness too. But it's important to know that this information flows from the earth into the feet and from the solar energies into our crown. So sometimes these codes look different. And for example, very often you can see the Sri Yantra coming from the sun as well as information. We are preparing for much more intensified, actually, flow of solar energy into this world. At the core of our galaxy, there is also the galactic central sun. That sun already sent plasma in the form, we call it the solar flash, but this time it's coming from the center of the galaxy. And this solar light from the galaxy is going to arrive eventually fully and completely like a big bang at our sun. When it does, our own sun will actually express more of its solar light to the earth, and the earth will receive a massive influx of solar light. This will happen, and this will be actually, I would call it, the highlight of this ascension process, when we are completely transformed by this blissful heat, really, spiritual fire. And so the beings that have been helping planet Earth in her evolution, we call them in the native terms the Kachinas. And it doesn't matter what names they are or not. These are supernatural beings that are part of the traditions of many native people around the world. Here in the US, it's the Hopi people, the Zuni people, and they always speak about the Kachinas and how they will come and assist us as we move from the fourth world into the fifth world. Well, these beings already have been around, and in 2021, on May 5th, 2021, they did something absolutely incredible. And they actually change the coordinates of planet Earth within the system of the worlds that we belong to. Now, this is huge. And I know Patricia Cota Robles speaks about it as well. And so it simply means something so unbelievably, I mean, it's beyond our understanding, of course, how that can even be. But that means the entire Earth is now receiving so much more light than ever before that we would know. So you could say that we have stepped into really the beginning of the golden age, because golden age is really the age where we have so much solar light. It is the solar light that creates the golden age. And so in the past, the Kriya Yoga that we talk about was the most profound method given to humanity, where we would be running the life force, the cerebral spinal fluid, from the base of the spine and moving it up so that we once again can awaken these higher centers of perception and have our direct contact with God in our fontanelle and our crown chakra. Now, this, was not easy. When I experienced this myself, I was dedicated to meditation since the age of 13. And I meditated for, I would say, I don't know, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours all the time. And so, it's something that definitely took a lot of effort in the past. Plus, we were limited in our structure because obviously there was upper parts of us, the higher selves of us that we would call the divine self. It was actually disconnected. So you would say the pipe, like I spoke about the two pipes, we were beings with disconnected pipes. So actually the energy of heavenly spirit could not so easily flow through us. And so all of this reconnecting, it was all about reconnecting the pipes really, so that we can have the physical spine and then reconnected with our astral spine, reconnected with our more subtle spine in the higher and higher and higher realms, all the way to our divine self, so that this all could flow. So it took incredible discipline, mental control, really focusing on your third eye and really just learning to be nothing and to think nothing, to be completely empty and just to meditate on Om. So, this way, it was a lot of effort, but again, it's just happening through us right now. But the upgrade has taken place, which is exciting. So now we still have the spine, but now the spine has been reconnected. So our multi-dimensional spine is now reaching to our divine self, and so we can run these energies through these incredible realms. So all the way, through the causal plane, through the astral plane, like all of this is now reconnected. So one technique that I would recommend for now, which is, of course, after 2020, this huge structural change, the physical change that took place within us, some things remain and some things no longer are needed or even applicable. So now I would say keep running your energy consciously through your spine. Very basic running of energy is inhaling life force up into your crown through the spine and running it back down. Our spine, again, is multidimensional. And so when, for example, you travel out of body, you are actually traveling through also your astral spine. You are traveling through your causal spine. You are traveling all into the realms of the divine. Well, all of it is divine, but into where you can have personal contact with Divine Mother and Father God. And so in August 2023, last year, I had this incredible experience that I would call encounter with our Divine Father. And I would recommend also that for this ascension process. So breathing through your spine, learning how to move energy through your spine, creating this beautiful flow, truly ascending through your spine, right? Because it is about ascending. But also the other thing for every day, asking yourself, am I filled And am I overflowing with God essence? And then doing whatever it takes for you to fill yourself up. Because without being filled with God essence, nothing else actually really matters. And so, I share the experience that I had. I always have, well, for many decades now, I've been doing very selective, really diet. I don't want to even call it diet, but just eating, a lot of vegetables. And that's about it, really. Some fruit, but mainly vegetables, just raw vegetables. And when I had this encounter with Father God, he was explaining to me in a wonderful way that actually that yes, that's great, but it's not the number one priority. The number one priority for this ascension process is actually putting our heavenly spirit first, God essence first, filling up with God essence first, and everything else is kind of secondary. So, some people approach ascension as, it's the way that you eat, but actually, it's the way you fill yourself up with God essence. And so I found this quote, it's from the Bible. I'm sure that all of you are familiar with it. My cup runneth over. And so every day, when you wake up in the morning, how do we fill the cup of consciousness with God essence? And the best way to fill it up is love. And again, going back to Yogananda was so in love with God. He was constantly writing poetry to God. He was singing songs to God. And it doesn't matter if he had a great singing voice or not, but it was all about love, love, love. And we, again, going back to the Bible, love God with all your heart, love Divine Mother with all your heart, love the Heavenly Spirit with all your heart. And so there is room for devotion. And devotion is an expression of love. And for example, when you have a guru like Yogananda, Yogananda was not pointing at himself. That's also important. We have some gurus in this world who point at themselves. But actually, a guru is like a portal to the divine. They don't point at themselves. True guru is a portal. They actually are a transparent portal that leads to the divine without pointing at themselves. And so just follow, this technique. It's so simple. And that is fill your cup fully and completely and overflow with God essence. And if it is, looking at Yogananda's picture, looking at Divine Mother's picture, and just feeling devotion, feeling the love, but understanding that, of course, that none of this is external. It actually is also very much internal, because the light of God actually shines very bright within us all. And in some people, of course, it's not shining fully and brightly yet, because there's, lampshades all around, which is life force that was not used with love, but that's okay. The essence in all of us is exactly the same, and that is divine essence. And so as we move forward in this ascension process, it's very simple. The very complicated techniques we had in the past, we don't need them anymore. Now is my cup full? That means, are my thoughts beautiful flowers? And just like our thoughts, actually, you can think of it as a garden, right? Your thoughts. What is in our garden? Is this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful flowers? And sometimes our mind is so conditioned still, right? From what I would call almost our past life, which was until 2020. And so in that past life, we had a mind that was not always responsible. And so maybe it was creating, some, I would call it some ugly trash. But now we are cleaning up the garden of our mind to be just beautiful flowers. So think of your mind as beautiful flowers. Yogananda even said, if you cannot come up with beautiful thoughts, just keep repeating, Divine Mother, Divine Mother, Divine Mother, God, Father, Father, Divine Mother, whatever it is, and we can call it a mantra. And so a wonderful mantra that we have, and I highly recommend it because it's much more than it seems like, is I am, I am, I am, focusing on your third eye. So it's very simple. Is my cup full? Am I a beautiful garden? And running your energy, running your energy. This also is actually how you can travel out of body. And so again, we can speak about it like, why travel out of body? Well, the thing is that, of course, in our past life until 2020, most of us were deeply actually associated, at least to a high degree or completely, with our physicality, which meant also that very often people would experience suffering and pain in the body. we were also associated and identified with our mind, our third dimensional mind, which was, not always the pretty garden. And so to be able to actually have more freedom and realizing of who you truly are, there is a technique that, I've been teaching, and that is moving through your spine into the next level of your being and even beyond to the next level of your being in those causal planes to realize who you truly are, and then coming back enriched, liberated, a little more easygoing with a different mind. It just changes us, of course, and then we approach life differently. So a person who is able to actually experience their higher and higher and higher self, or have, personal contact with what we call Divine Mother, Divine Father, God, can never ever cause any harm to any part of life, right? Because, can you imagine after you meet Divine Mother and then go and start killing this and that? It is impossible. It simply is impossible. So being able to actually experience yourself as you are in higher realms and then coming back simply makes us a more loving human being, in which we then, I would say, fulfill our purpose here, which is to be the love of God, the light of God in this world. So, it's just amazing how it all works, right? Self-realization to me, in the past, some people might think it's a very egoistic thing, I want to have superpowers, but no, we all want a better world, don't we? We all want a world where harmony and peace prevails, and where we actually celebrate our divinity and come up with new ways to celebrate our divine creation. I mean, it's amazing when you think about it, what happens in higher realms. The level of harmony and synchronization is just exceptional. It makes me think of like, synchronized swimming. So in higher realms, everything is synchronized. Here is a bit of mess. So if we don't want to mess, right, then we want to be going to these higher realms, transforming our own being, but always coming back so that we can be the love of God, the light of God, and actually the power of God, the wisdom of God, and all of it. And again, God is the one word to use, but, the divine. So what happens when you fill yourself up? And everybody, we all have our different way of filling up, but every day just pay attention to how full you are with God essence. Nothing else matters. If like we have priorities, that is the number one priority. Is my cup full and overflowing? And if it is overflowing, that means the people around you are benefiting whether they know you or not. So it's an energetic flow, right? It is not exactly always visible to us when we meet someone, but it's always there energetically. And so all of this amazing energy is running through our bodies. Now, our physical bodies went through an incredible degrade millions of years ago, and we went from beings who didn't need to reproduce sexually. We went from beings who didn't need to eat anything because we were fully sustained by the elemental forces of creation. But think about the organs. Now we say, oh yeah, digestive system, that means we needed food. But the thing is that actually our organs, the way that I think about it, they also have a higher self, which is the same organ, but a light organ. And we are beings that are sustained originally by divine electricity. And so divine electricity and elemental substance needs to run also through this physical body. And so our organs, where just like when you look inside the electric car, so here we have a nice Tesla, it has all these different parts. And these parts are there because they all function together to run the energy, to move the energy, and to actually propel this incredible car. So it is the same with our physical body. So our physical body has all these organs that have a light version of themselves. Now, I was very blessed when I was living in Germany. I met this incredible Chinese master, and he didn't even speak German. He had translators. He was an old man, and he came to Berlin to visit one day. And what he was doing, that he was transmitting to people, he was a Taoist master. He was transmitting to people cosmic nutrition. Now we would sit in the audience, there was about 100 of us, and every week, once a week, we would go in and he would transmit cosmic nutrition in form of cosmic fruit to us. And then for 3 weeks, you actually didn't even think about food. And it was not fasting, and it was not at all any which way like feeling hungry. He would make us full, completely full with cosmic nutrition. And the other thing that he was able to do, he was actually able to upgrade each organ to be a light organ. And so you would have the light organs within yourself that would still be there to actually transfer life force, to process energy, to move energy, but it was without actually having to eat. It was unbelievable. So I got to experience it myself, and it was truly life-changing. So we are moving towards that as a collective. Humanity is moving towards that, to be sustained so much more by divine electricity, by divine energy. But we are also, electromagnetic beings. So everything here is changing us to be electromagnetic beings once again, that can move so much divine energy through these different parts of us, through our energy systems. So this is a very interesting picture. We all are familiar with the image of Jesus and Christ, and I believe that there is a very mystical meaning behind it, much more than meets the eye or what the stories have told us. And that within us is actually an axis. We have been working with the axis, and the axis, of course, is our spine, but we have a horizontal and a vertical axis. Now, we have been in fallen bodies. It means the bodies had to reproduce through sexuality, we had to eat food to survive, and so on and so on. So in a way, when Yogananda spoke about this, he said, that was the body, and he would call it the son of man, so our physicality. And then there was the son of God, the daughter of God, which would be the light body. So to go through the transformation from this physical body that was of the fallen design, we also need internal alignment of energy. And the energy, our physical body truly can run, you can see it so beautifully through our skeleton. And so our holy bones, when they are aligned, when we align our spine, when we align our legs, when we align our arms, when we align our neck and our head, we can create again an amazing, I would call it almost like a tunnel through which the light body can be reached. So it's all about movement of energy going to these higher realms through our physicality. Here is a wonderful image as well, once again, of the rainbow body being achieved this way. And we are all going through this process. So again, moving through this ascension process, pay attention to your alignment. Pay attention to how your body is aligned. That's why when we meditate, we want to be sitting upright. When we walk, we want to be with our spine constantly being an antenna through which this life force can move. Because we are constantly exchanging information with these subtle realms. And we do that through the alignment of our physicality so that we can be in our light body. So it aligns us also with divine will being emanated to humanity through the Big Dipper, for example, alignment of our true north with our pole star. So there's a lot about alignment. I personally, the way that I sleep, I best can show you what it looks like. I call it the soldier position, and that is being as straight as it gets, not even having like a normal pillow, because that would lift up your head. If you lift up your head, for example, right, you don't have alignment of the spinal cord, and so it doesn't flow perfectly into the crown. And so here, this is from the Book of the Dead in Tibet. Not Tibet, sorry, this is Egyptian, of course. And so what this picture shows us, for example, is that when the human being is fully aligned, they can liberate their etheric self, the etheric double. And so you see the etheric double of this person here is above them because they aligned, and so they were able to experience out-of-body travel. And here is where I wanted to recommend, if you are interested, for example, in really learning out-of-body travel from someone who's incredibly experienced and was able to put it into an incredible course. So that would be this website, escapefromthematrix.com. So the wonderful mystic young man in this life, his name is Arcturus, and Arcturus created such a profound, very deep, mystical online course where you learn step by step how to do this. Now, again, I find this so incredibly useful. I think about all the different scenarios in which being able to actually go out and come back in is unbelievably beneficial for so many millions of reasons. The fact, just the website, Escape from the Matrix, of course, if a person is trapped in the body and, for example, is even suffering in the body, then to me, like, it's so important to know the yoga of exiting and coming back when you feel like it. That is just huge, huge. And Arcturus is here on the call as well, because I reached out to him after I saw his interview actually online, because this profound, some people teach out of body travel without having, the real knowledge of it, but Arcturus has it. The other thing is that Arcturus also shares mantras. Now, these mantras are unbelievably accelerating the entire process. It's like suddenly it's just like reliable, much faster, much easier. I'm having so much fun with the mantras, by the way. So it just makes the whole process much more, I would say, it's much faster. So again, that's just my recommendation, because out of body travel has been for me where I gain most of knowledge, is being able to go to higher realms. I love being in this world and being able to come and go, for example, because when you go to these meetings in higher realms, right, you want to be able to consciously participate and then come back and say, oh, okay, so this is what needs to happen on planet Earth. Let's do it. We've got a mission. And so let us go back to this alignment. What is changing within us as well? And guys, if you can, Arcturus, if you can put please your website into the chat as well so that people can click on it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And also, I wanted to say Arcturus is also deeply connected to Yogananda. And so I always believe Yogananda has been guiding all of us here in this world, to be where we need to be, to know what we need to know, to learn what we need to learn. And so for me, that's another huge, sign of the quality of this teaching. So the other thing that is changing within us is our right and left hemisphere are reconnecting. They are reconnecting. This is part of our ascension process, which also means different perception of reality. Divine Mother always insisted that if we want to accelerate our ascension process and to be able to see more, know more, have a nervous system that is able to receive more, we absolutely must start using both of our hands as equally as possible. Sorry, drinking too much water here. And so the right and left hemisphere, they are reconnecting, but you can again help it. And so how do you do it? For example, the wonderful prayer position, it is reconnecting the channels that go into your hands. All the channels, all the beautiful nadis, everything comes to our fingertips. And so when we put our palms and our fingertips together, we are actually rewiring our system. Once again, we are like an electric vehicle. And so this rewiring is just so simple, but so powerful. To me, this is the reason why prayer position even came into being. It was not about asking God for stuff, but it was actually about bringing the channels together so that we can experience the wholeness. And so when we meditate, think of this as like, I'm just reconnecting my right and left hemisphere. I'm becoming more whole again. My nervous system is changing, focusing on the third eye always. Focusing on the third eye is so beautifully shown in this diagram of reality, which was given to me by our creator of all that is. And so it was again Yogananda's grace that allowed me to meet with the creator of all that is several years ago in a very profound way. And that's what I learned about the structure of reality and how important it is to actually be centered in the center. And the center is not only the center that you would call your heart, but it's also your third eye. And so your third eye is absolutely essential. And so when you meditate, don't waste your time just doing some kind of meditations that don't have really, a huge effect. But when you meditate, focus on the third eye. Focus on running the energy through your spine and you will have incredible results. Focusing on the third eye, for me, when I travel out of body, I have to silence myself completely in the middle of the night, meaning silencing all thoughts, to focus on a mantra, and to focus on the third eye. And that alone, just focusing on the spine, focusing on the third eye, focusing on a mantra, allows you to actually go to these higher state of consciousness and even travel out of body and to visit in these higher realms. So this centering is also centering not only in the heart, but also beyond the right and left, and that's in the third eye. So as humanity, the trap here was conditions, that we had preference and we had judgment, we had likes and we had dislikes. This was actually keeping us in this constant swinging of the pendulum, and the pendulum needs to actually rest in the middle. Divine Mother said, it is time to stop the pendulum from swinging. And the swinging is, I don't like these conditions, but I like these conditions. I hate these conditions, but I love these conditions. I want only these conditions on the right. I don't want the conditions on the left. But the key to all of this is actually complete stillness and going beyond conditions of the right and left, going beyond the conditions of the good and bad, going beyond the pleasurable conditions and the painful conditions, and focusing in the center in complete stillness. And that's where we unlock our highest potential. For example, people say, but what about if you're suffering in the physical body? Well, being able to actually do this technique where you focus in the spine, you focus on the third eye, it also disconnects us from pain. Physical pain was never the original design of reality. Physical pain actually came into being later when the body became so dense and when the body fell into the design that we've had until 2020. So again, pain will not be part of our future design. So to express what's happening here on planet Earth, I have a lot of memories from what we call, the continent of Mu. I wouldn't even call it a continent. I would say, when human beings started to exist on planet Earth and even before that. But again, those memories really delivered to me, for example, through my own divine self. I don't have memories, not too many, just one, of Atlantis, or maybe two. But I remember that at the beginning of things, we were beings of rainbow body. And this rainbow body was sustained by these elemental forces of creation. So we actually did have a name. We had a sound for the creator. We didn't have what I would call Father God and Mother God as such, but we definitely could constantly see the spirit. So the heavenly spirit flowing through all things. And we gave it a sound, a name, and we called that spirit Tewa. Now, Tewa is still a name that you will see in New Mexico, for example, as the Tewa people or the language group, which actually is the Hopi people, for example. And so, it's a long history. So a lot of these native people that we have here today, that were part of the original, actually, civilization on planet Earth. Now, because we were constantly seeing how Tewa moves through all things, we were living in complete honor, and I wouldn't call it even worship. We simply honored Tewa. We honored the Great Spirit with everything that we did, everything that we were. To us, it was like constantly being one with the divine will as it flown, as it was flowing all around us and through us. So we knew how we needed to evolve. So evolution was actually part of the design. Evolution is part of the design, cosmic design, of course. Everything in nature is designed to evolve. The human being was designed to keep evolving, not through pain and suffering, but simply evolving in experience, skills, and abilities to be able to co-create with the Great Spirit, to be expanding what we would call the queendom and the kingdom of heaven, which was everywhere, meaning cosmos. And so it was about really gaining skills of creation, becoming more and more skilled in creating. We were designed to move just like nature, from a seed to an egg, you would say, to a flower, to a tree. So within nature, we have these incredible designs, and they are always evolutionary. They evolve into more. And so from the seed, we were designed to become a tree. from the tree to start flowering, from the flowers to give fruit, from the fruit to fall and to give birth to a new tree of life. So again, these geometries are within all of us and within nature. So once again, you know, from here you have the Vesica Pisces on the left. It's two circles, and to me that is actually very much similar to this design, where you have the divine feminine and the divine masculine coming from source. So the same with the two circles. And then evolution starts, and we have a geometric evolution. And so you and me, we experience what it's like, you know, when we got trapped by this reincarnation, kind of the wheel of reincarnation here. We were seeds that were not sprouting. We were seeds that were just dormant and coming back again and again and again. And there was no tree of life. But actually within Cosmos, there is a great tree of life. And you and me are part of this great tree of life. And this great tree of life is now inviting all of us to start sprouting, to start growing, to start evolving, and to start going into more and more and more of our own divine potential, which truly means just fulfilling our evolutionary potential. What I find so interesting here is as you move through these geometric evolutionary patterns, you end up with the cube of Metatron, which is our new planetary grid. So the new planetary grid too is an evolutionary process where the Earth now is restoring her evolutionary potential, her highest potential for the planetary grid. So when you think of yourself going through this ascension process, you know, mimicking nature is a great idea. Always looking at, again, how full your cup is. But the cup, you can see, also is the tree of life itself. And so the tree of life has evolutionary portals. These portals have been seen by the mystics in the past. You know, for example, the Kabbalah, they depicted the tree of life so beautifully. So these evolutionary portals exist within all of us. Now, when I was 13 years old, you know, I got that huge experience after chanting for so long, for so many weeks and days and nights. And I was chanting from the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which allowed me to completely disconnect from this world and to go completely, not just out of body, but completely, I mean, completely exit this world in a way that would have normally been permanent. But I was sent back. And when I was sent back with the following advice, maybe a command. You have to go back to grow along the tree of life. So bam, here we are. And now we are growing along the tree of life. So this tree of life is within us. And this tree of life is something that is actually creating our toroidal field. This is absolutely essential to our ascension process. We are all going through this right now. We are growing along the tree of life. We are evolving very fast. We are embodying this new geometry so beautifully. And we are creating this rainbow body all around us, which obviously is the tree of life with the roots, with the crown, and we are in the middle, the being who runs these energies through our body. So it is our nervous system, of course, that needs to run these incredible energies and all the wonderful organs that we looked at and all the subtle energy channels. So once again, you know, this is the tree of life. It's really huge, and it's going to be really important in this year and as we move forward in the ascension process, because truly it is ascending on the tree of life. It is finally this evolutionary impulse that is coming from the solar light, which is saying your time has come. No more being a seed, no more hiding from evolution. Now is the time to actually grow to your full stature, to become this beautiful tree of life. This is just amazing. It's also simple and just so beautiful. So this picture comes, you know, I was looking for the tree of life, and so that's what I find on Google. But that is, you know, from the Kabbalah, of course. So as the earth evolves, she invites you and me every day to evolve with her. I highly recommend having every day a practice in which you connect with the earth. I do it every morning. I haven't skipped a day since Divine Mother first came in 2017. And the reason for that is that you want to be participating consciously with an open heart in this big transformation. So, you know, at sunrise, go outside, put your hands on the ground, put your feet on the ground, you know, greet her, talk to her, welcome her, say hi to the Great Spirit, you know, say, I'm available, I'm here, I hear you, I love you. And just making yourself again full with love. It's all about connecting, right, through this loving energy. So telling the earth, you know, I've got you. I'm here on you. I believe in you. And so I'm assisting as much as I can. I mean, you and me, you know, of course we are. And so connecting with the earth, but of course connecting through love and knowing that also there is the solar energy that is running through us. Down here. And so we are truly changing our geometry. We are changing our chakra system. We are changing our nervous system. Our, you know, our organs are going into much more light as well. And so, again, to support this process, just listen deeply to the changes taking place within you. Sometimes we are on like repeat, right? Because we also had the past life until 2020. And so in that past life, you know, we had a lot of habits and we thought we knew who we were based on the limited understanding of the personality self of the lower human mind. But there is a new you being birthed right now every single day. So who is the new you? You know, again, in the past, you know, I was quoting from this French philosopher who said, don't ask me who I am. And if you do have to ask me who I am, do not ask me to stay the same. And that's pretty much what is happening here. If somebody tells you, I know you, no, nobody knows you, because even we don't actually yet know the true divine self fully. We are letting go of the old, which was not the true self. So whatever we thought we were, we probably are not. Let's put it that way. And so, again, to have a beautiful grounding practice, connecting with the earth everywhere you can, connect with her waters, connect with her soil, connect with her deeply, connect with her air. You know, the practice of pranayama, breathing through the spine, it brings more oxygen into our bloodstream. It makes our cells more and more and more etheric, ethereal cells. And that's why we're becoming more and more light. So the beautiful portal of Sedona, I wanted to just point out one thing, just so that you know what's going on this planet. We are now stepping into a very accelerated ascension process for this Earth in this year that we in human terms here call 2024. And an important portal on this planet is the portal of Sedona, as you can imagine. And I share things that come through me because of my own lineage, which takes me back to actually being a Hopi, even though I'm not Native American in this lifetime. But when I was a little girl, I got visited by my Hopi grandmother who gave me an initiation at the age of 4, and she took me to Sedona. She took me through the rocks. And so this year, just so that you know, on the 2nd of February, there is something really special happening in Sedona. It's not a public event. It's not something that, you know, we can go to. It's not something we can buy and buy a ticket to. But this event, I believe, will be life-changing for this planet. And it is actually the gathering of native, not just American people, but native people of this world in a very private ceremony when they are working on the portal to the new earth. Now, I received, you know, some information about it last night in my dream time, let's call it that. I was not out of body, but it came to me in a dream. And I was shown that just like in Ohio, where we went to awaken the frozen, really rainbow serpent within the earth, which was great success, which led to this acceleration here. Very similar thing will happen in Sedona on the 2nd of February. And I was shown how there are 2 portals within Sedona that a lot of work has been done on them already. And these 2 portals still have a way to go to reconnect, and that will happen on the 2nd of February this year. So that's very exciting, once again. And some of you are coming with us to Sedona in March for the spring equinox. And I just wanted to say we had a lot of people who were interested, and we only had 22 spots. But again, it will be amazing to be with you guys in Sedona in March for the equinox, which just will be so beautiful. Sedona is just so beautiful to look at. And so with all of that said, once again, if you are interested, for example, in out-of-body travel, then I highly recommend working with Arcturus and learning from him. He did such an amazing job, putting together such a wonderful online course, and also receiving the two mantras I have been working with recently are from Arcturus. And so here's a beautiful painting, and this is going to be our last thing, just to look at something so beautiful, how artists around the world are now, receiving Divine Mother, expressing her bounty. And this is from an artist in Hawaii. She made this incredible painting of Divine Mother, where you can see all of nature within her. You see the rainbow light, the hummingbirds. And I wanted to zoom in here. You see the moon, the lunar energy, all the nature, the jaguar, I think it is. And so I was thinking about how here you see on the sides the little bees in the beehive. And I wanted to say from Divine Mother, I learned she is our queen. She is the queen of this beehive, and we are her bees in her beehive. This world is a beehive to her. That's how she operated at the beginning when we had the Moose civilization here. We were so much more conscious of being bees in her beehive. She wanted to be the queen, and for us to each individually have a perspective, to have our uniqueness, but at the same time to experience oneness. And that is exactly what this ascension process is. It is in some way returning to the Mu consciousness, but at the same time evolving into more, because evolution is always, it's an upward moving spiral. So we don't go back, we evolve. We are not moving in linear ways. And so remember how essential you are to this beautiful beehive, and that your uniqueness, your perspectives are so important to this beehive. The way the Divine Mother showed me this is like when you look through these honeycomb shapes, every single one of us is like a bee in one of those little sacred geometries in a honeycomb. And then we look out at the world and we say, I see this. And then you say, I see that. And then another person says, I see that. But together it creates the big picture. And so that's why this oneness, the consciousness of oneness, is absolutely essential, because it's together that we co-create this beautiful big picture, and let Divine Mother know in a way also what this world really is. Let the earth know who she is through your eyes, through your consciousness, and through your heart. And so that's it for today. And again, our lunar cycles are not exactly happening right now, new moon to full moon, like they used to, because I've been traveling and I had some family obligations as well. But what we will do, because we have energy moving here, we have such wonderful, wonderful energy moving through us, and it is nice to get together. And so for a while, it's not going to be exactly aligned with new moon and full moon, but I will be posting dates whenever I can on the website and sending emails. So when you get an email, it will be an invitation to join one of these free events that we do. So thank you so much. This could never be happening here in this world without you. And so as you came here into this world to shine the light of God, to be the love of God, to be the wisdom of God, you are fulfilling such an incredible purpose in every moment. So thank you for that, and many blessings.